boys feel justified to use violence to solve problems. We go out there and fight and do different things because we want to prove our manhood. We join a lot of societies and we join a lot of, gangs and stuff like that to belong, to find belonging, to be validated by them, and things like that. And that's some of the challenges why boys globally have issues, because the figures are alarming to us. We now know globally that you would find that men, you know, uh, are 3 times more likely to commit suicide than women. You also find out that global figures show that more men are more depressed now than women. You also find now that if you go to any prison in the world and anywhere, any country in the world, we have more than 70% of inmates anywhere in the world happen to be men. What does that say to you? It says that we're not raising men in the right sense. My name is Omoba, Ayodeji Deji Irawo, and I'm a media enthusiast and I'm a male resource person, and which means I love having conversations about boys and about men. I like sharing my ideas, I like sharing my thoughts because I believe that men and boys are very integral to our world, and together we all make the world a better place. I believe that men have a special place in this world, and I believe that if we just take a seat and allow ourselves to take a deeper look into what it means to be a boy, what it means to be a man, we will help our world to be a better place, and we will help men to become better people and those who contribute meaningfully to the world around us, as we all want to make the world a better place. So, what conversation are we having today? The challenge we have is that we see that people really don't know what it means to be a boy. If you ask people, so who is a boy or who is a man, they automatically begin to tell you about the roles of a big male. It should be a provider, it should be a chief security officer of his home, it should be the protector of his home. They just begin to describe the various roles that a man will play somewhere in his life. And very few people start, from the place of saying a boy or a man is a human being who is unique and he has unique features. He has gifts, he has talents, and he has a unique desire to fulfill his dreams and at the same time be successful in the multiple relationships in which he will find himself in his lifetime. So we naturally don't really see him as a human being who needs to be loved and also be able to receive and give that love to the people around him. And that's where we want to start from. That a boy who eventually becomes a man is a very unique human created by God to come into this world and to interact with him and to achieve his many dreams as he begins to age, and at the same time interconnect with different people, his family, extended family, colleagues, schoolmates, and things like that, and help them also achieve their dreams, and at the same time be able to build mutually beneficial relationships. And one who knows that his dreams and his aspirations, are very important, not only to himself but to the people around him. And it's all about how he gives and also how he receives love, and somebody who is able to free to define, you know, what life is, how he sees himself in the ambience of where he finds himself in the relationship, and how it's not all about what he brings to the plate all the time, but it's also about what is given to him, and at the same time he's also able to give out of that love to the world around him. But what do we find? We find that boys come into this world, and somehow as a society we have defined who he should be, how he should be, and then obviously without even taking his permission. We don't give the boy child an opportunity to discover who he is, to define himself, to look at life and look within himself and see how he wants to interface. There's what we call a man box or a man code, or what we call the negative masculine ideologies that we socialize boys into, when they grow up. And that's a very good one. We socialize boys into. There's a misconception going out there that boys are wired in a particular way, or boys are wired in this way, or this is the construct. No. You realize that boys, just like girls, are born into this world with a mind that's tabula rasa, with a heart that's open, without a culture, without a mentality, without a frame of reference. They're just born into this world. And what they become is a sum total of how society and the norms and the culture and the paradigms of this world and perception shapes them to be. And eventually, what we do is to socialize boys to become what we have defined as the man code or the man box or the negative masculine ideology. Why do we call them negative? Because we found out that when we track the dysfunction in boys and in men globally, we always realize that it can be traced back to the 7 things I'm about to share with you. That is what we've discovered to be one thing that gives us an issue with boys. So we will start. Firstly, and like I said, earlier, remember that the permission of the boy is not taken to be taught this. He's just taught. Either he wants to believe it or not. There's an expectation of him to morph into this reality once he begins to move. So first, there's a conception that boys are socialized to believe that they are superior to girls. So from a very young age, you begin to let him know, girls are, you're more powerful than a girl. You should be smarter than a girl. You should be more expressive like a girl than a girl is. So he begins to have a sense of superiority from day one. If you call a 3-year-old or 4-year-old now and you tell him, oh, can you beat this girl? He would say, yes, I can. He sees it as a brag. He sees it as a fight. He sees himself as a superior being. He sees himself as somebody that has come into the world, that and the women should step aside because, in terms of parity, he is expected to be better than her in every way, stronger than her, smarter than her. So there's a chip on his shoulder, So when a girl beats him to anything, or a girl becomes outstanding in anything compared to him, his low self-esteem, is the essence of his being is threatened. Why? Because he was told that. Secondly, boys are socialized to believe that women are sexual objects of their desire. That the multitude of girls and women you can have sex with or eat up, use all sorts of funny words for it today, makes you a man. So you see a woman as somebody who is just there to gratify your sexual object. We can see that from the whole porn industry and all the likes of the music videos and the films and everything that's there. Just find out that even when you want to advertise things as trivia as a car and things like that, there's always a naked woman somewhere around just to make it more attractive to the eyes and stuff like that. So boys grow up, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of young males feel feel justified to rape. They just feel, hey, what's that? Your body is supposed to be for us. So really, you're there to. So if you're not going to give us the sex, we can rape you, and we can do that. Thirdly, boys are told that it's weakness to show emotions. It's weakness to cry. It's weakness to talk. It's girls that talk too much. It's girls that cry. It's girls that show emotions. It's for weaklings. Be a man. You tell boys to man up. So from a very young age, boys begin to learn how to shelf, which is how to, keep your emotions, how to make sure that they don't come to the surface. So you learn how to shelf down. And, you also learn how to stop crying. When you find yourself wanting to show emotion, you hold it up. You just bottle everything. And so you start the bottling up from there. And you start the show of ensuring that your emotions do not get the better of you. And then, so you build this, I'm a man, and real men don't cry and real men don't do this. So for a very young age, even mothers will tell their sons, why are you crying now? You're not a man. So boys grow up with that mentality that they're not supposed to cry or show emotion or show any weakness. Also, we bring up boys to believe that performance describes who they are. So you find that men are always on about strength, about power, about achievements, about abilities to do this and things like that. So you find boys performing for, to be validated, to be accepted, and to be celebrated. So what you have more are human doings, people who just keep doing things, looking for the next thing to do, people who can't really accept, that they don't need to do anything to earn anything. Men believe that if they have not worked and if they have not proven to you that they're a man, so we say things in society like, oh, he's man enough because, he buried his parents in style, and oh, when he did this, he did it well. So obviously, you just find men just going out there trying to impress the entire world. So there's a lot of performance driven, mentality around a lot of boys. Another thing that they say to us that is very key is the fact that you have to splash cash to be a man. If you're a man and you cannot walk into a place and show that you have a lot of money and buy big cars and live in big houses, there's nothing wrong in wanting to dream big. But boys are told, if you are not able to measure up in terms of this capacity when it comes to living a very ostentatious life, and you're splashing the cash and everything, they're not a real man. Real men can take care of themselves and they can throw cash around and stuff like that. And then one of the things again that boys are told is that for you to be a real man, you have to be over 6 feet tall, broad shoulders, huge chest, tall, dark, and handsome and stuff like that. So that's what real men are. So you find a lot of men not just exercising to keep fit, from a young age, you see boys showing their power, trying to, evolve into this Hulk-like or Hercules kind of man, and that's what really makes a man. Those are the seven things that boys are told without taking their own permission. So at the end of the day, what do we have? No human being can effectively keep up with all this men code, and and still be, for lack of a better word, a human being in the real sense of it. All these man codes are performance driven codes that allows you not to have a relationship with yourself and in the world around you. You find boys beginning to be what we call dysfunctional. Why? Because you are warring against yourself. Your assignment as a boy is to come into this world, discover who you are, discover your unique talents, and to begin to work towards ensuring that you maximize your talents in achieving your goals, and ensuring that you are able to build relationships with yourself and with the world around you in the pursuit of those goals. But you realize that with all these man codes, you're not able to have a successful relationship with your creator, with yourself, and with the world around you, because all these seven things you've been told will give you challenges when you want to build relationships. For example, you are superior to every female you see. Then how can you build relationships with them? If you see every woman as a sexual object, then how can you really get to know them? If you believe that you're not supposed to cry or be vulnerable or to be open, then how can you build relationships with people when vulnerability is the essence of relationship, especially marriage and things like that? If you believe that you have to perform to be validated as a person, then how can you just enjoy relationships where you're not supposed to do anything? You're just supposed to be and enjoy the relationship. If you believe that you have to outdo everybody and compete with everybody, then how can you really have friends and really make friends? Why would you not enter into exhaustion and for lack of a better word, burnout and things like that? And that's why a lot of men just drop dead around the world, stroke, all sorts of things. Why? Because we are performing to live. We're trying to meet up to goals that society has crapped up for us. We're raising human doings who would find themselves into trouble, who will find themselves, getting into trouble and will not be able to live life. We just want you to understand that boys are not human doings. Boys are unique human beings who have a right to be happy and who have a right to find happiness and who have a right to live in a society where they are not judged by their masculinity, but they're allowed to express themselves. So we just want to appeal to you. Let boys be. Thank you.